So what does not feeling motivated in the morning have to do with your past? Let me share with you. I have been keeping track for the last few months on a variety of things that I was going through, and it all started with my mornings that were not going the way I wanted to. So I started to really kind of notice by observation, and then I started writing it down on my iPhone notes, things that were happening. And so I want to share with you some of those routines that I ended up creating from the fact that I was observing these things. And at the end, I'm going to share with you some tips to help you do the same so that you can have also an amazing morning when you wake up. So what I noticed is that I was feeling unmotivated. I was feeling sort of foggy in my head. I was also noticing that my body just didn't feel really good. And then I was observing that my face looked kind of swollen, and I was like, what is going on? And I really didn't like it. I was not happy at all. Now, besides the fact that we are getting older, that's going to happen, and I am, so it's going to be part of life, right? But at the same time, it doesn't mean it has to be that way. So we can always take a look at how do we find more knowledge so that we can grow as individuals. So this is where I started to make the connection that my evening was actually connected to my morning. And I started to really be aware of what was happening for me that created these feelings that I was having in the morning. So I started checking out like how many, cocktails was I drinking? What kind of food was I eating? I was also taking a look at what was my mood the night before I went to sleep. And then finally, I was looking at how many hours of sleep did I actually get. I recently created an evening routine because that's when I noticed that the mornings weren't going well because the evenings weren't going well. And I had to start with my evening, not the morning. Did you guys get that? I had to start with the evening so that I could have the current moment in the morning be a good morning for me. And normally that's not what we think, right? We think, oh, I'm going to have a morning routine so that I can have a great day. But it all starts the evening before. So that was a real perspective shift for me that I had to realize that I had to do that in the past to make my morning a better morning. My name is Sonia Barker, and to know is to grow. Okay, so here's my evening routine. First of all, I have a very light dinner. I am very much aware of how I'm eating in the evening. That will impact my morning. The second thing I do is I make sure that I wash my face before I'm too tired to do that and get ready for bed, like brushing my teeth. And my goal is always to floss, and that's a hit and miss sometimes, but that's always my part of my routine is flossing. But what happens is, I don't know if this happens to you, that when you get too tired to get yourself up from wherever you're at sitting, it almost like you extend the time that you're sitting down because you don't want to get up because you're too tired and you still have to get ready for bed. So the secret is to do it before you're actually really tired. The next thing I do is I basically turn any electronics off anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour beforehand. And that really helps because our brain gets a lot of dopamine from social media or looking at emails or what have you. And so you're keeping yourself awake as you're scrolling through that stuff. So it's a really good idea not to. And number 4, what I try to do is really try to get my 8 hours of sleep, because when I don't get the 8 hours of sleep, I can feel really impacted. And sometimes I might go a few nights where I'm getting less than that, like maybe 7 hours, 6.5, and that really does catch up with me. When you do the following suggestions that I'm going to give you, it's going to really make a significant impact in having a more positive morning, and you're going to be actually more energized and motivated to get things going for yourself. Number 1 is to avoid randomness. Just doing different things without any real focus on any of it. You might stay up, you might not, or you might scroll through social media, or you might binge watch Netflix, whatever it is, but you really have no sense of when am I supposed to go to bed. Randomness is not where we want to go. We want to have an actual focus on what we want to do so that we hit at least maybe 3 to 4 to 5 things that we make sure we do every evening. And those 4 or 5 things, they can go with you wherever you travel. So if you have to travel for work or family vacation or what have you, you can still do your routine and make sure that you're ready for the morning. Number 2 is getting your electronics away from you. And that could be in another room, that could be in a drawer across the room, whatever you have to do to make sure you don't have your electronics, your iPhone, your laptop, your iPad, whatever that is for you. Because what happens is it really stimulates with the lights as well as with doing whatever your brain starts to focus on. And 30 minutes to an hour beforehand is a good rule of thumb for you to just shut that all down. I currently keep my iPhone in the restroom, and the reason I do that is because it helps me not have it right next to me, because sometimes if I can't go to sleep, I have reached in the past for it, and then I start scrolling, and guess what? It wakes me up. So going to sleep is going to be even harder for me to do that. Number 3 is that you want to check your brain. You want to see what mood you're in. If you have sort of a restlessness about you, or if you're thinking a lot about the next day in reference to work or something like that, you want to be able to just figure out a way to shift your mood. One of the easiest ways to do that is to get a book that you are interested in on any topic currently and start reading, and make that part of the evening routine so that you are shifting yourself from that. What happens when we're thinking about work too much, or you're in bed and you're thinking, okay, I'm supposed to go to sleep, but I'm thinking about work. What happens is your brain doesn't know what to focus on. Like, are we resting or are we trying to solve something for work? What's going on? When your brain doesn't know what to focus on, it makes it really challenging for it to just rest. Finally, the 4th thing, and this is probably one of the key things that I have found over time, is to plan out your next day or write out what's on your mind. You could call it journaling if you want, or you could just have a planner and do it that way, or do a combination of both. What's really good about that is that you're going to basically brain dump anything that you have currently going on, and you're going to write it out. You can schedule some times for you to get some of those things done, even better. Now here's the interesting part about that, is when you put that all out on paper right before you're going to go to sleep, and you write out like what the day's going to look like, what you still have to do, what you want to achieve, your unconscious and subconscious mind, when you go to sleep, is going to be thinking about that in the way that it's going to process what is it that it can solve for you the next day based on like past experiences that you have. And the interesting thing about it is that you're going to wake up a lot more energized for having done that the night before, which is really an interesting thing. The other thing it does, it allows you to trust the fact that everything you're thinking about is on a piece of paper. You don't have to worry of forgetting about it or it not getting done, because you're going to wake up and you're going to be able to see it and achieve whatever you need to achieve for that day. Let me know if this is something that is going to help you out when it comes to creating a morning that you're motivated to do and tackle for the day, by giving me a comment below and sharing with me what are some things that you do, or maybe some challenges you have when it comes to evening routine. One of the things that I really enjoy about the Make Account membership is that the focus is how to create more joy in your life, how to grow from where you're at so that you can have a more enjoyable, loving, amazing life. So check it out, and I'll see you again next time.